One of the things that all of us need to realize as business people is that almost every decision that we make has a financial implication. Every decision we make has a financial implication. And if you lose sight of that financial implication, then you begin running your business in the wrong direction. One of the, I guess you say, principles that I've always operated on is a four-legged stool, so to speak. And that is, we all focus on results. But in order to get the results that we need to go back to the very beginning and figure out how well the people believe in the results that they want to achieve. Because if you don't create that belief, then basically you can forget about the results. Because once somebody believes, then their attitude about what they believe changes. And then once their attitude changes, then their behavior changes, and then you start getting the results that you're looking for. And so, you know this in calling on clients, that if you can't get a client to believe it's important to do business with you, then you can forget about the results. From a marketing standpoint, and all of you know this in the sales and marketing end, is the fact that people remember you because of your differences, not because of your similarities. But we have a watchword around the Botanic Garden, and we call it mustard. Mustard, okay? And that stems from an illustration that I gave them years ago. And I said, let's suppose that you meet a fellow at a cocktail party, and he's got on a $4,000 suit, he's got on a $600 shirt, he's got on a pair of $3,000 Italian loafers, he's got on a $500 tie, and he's got a spot of mustard on that tie. Now when you walk away from there, what do you remember? You remember the mustard, okay? So one of our goals day in and day out is to make sure we don't have any mustard at the Botanic Garden. I saw a little boy a couple of years ago walk to the edge of the woods. We have 4 acres of woods where we just let grow whatever grows. It's a good place to experiment, good place to teach classes, so on and so forth. He was about this tall, walked to the edge of the woods, went right up to it, and then he put on brakes. I walked up behind him and looked down, and I said, son, you going in? He said, no, I'm not going in there. I said, well, how come? He said, gorillas. And so we don't know, what the imagination is or what the perception is. And so I reached down, took him by the hand, and I said, well, if you're going with me, I guarantee you I won't let the gorillas get you. And so we walked through the woods, but bottom line is this is an experience that he'll always take with him. Because we know that many of our children here in Memphis, the outdoors have been taken away from them. When I grew up, the outside was a destination. That's all you needed to say. I'd come in, my mother would say, where you been? I said, I've been outside. Enough said. What are you going to do today? We're going to play outside. Okay? And so that's one of the things that we tried to do is to restore the outside. We also try to create differences that no one else has to bring people into the garden. It's working because last year we had over 230,000 people come through the doors of the garden. And so, see, what we have to do as salespeople is the fact that we have to elevate the cost to where it makes it very difficult when we close. And the essentials of a good close, I didn't know I was getting off on all this, but the essential of a good close is that the person that you're closing has to know exactly what you're asking them to do. I mean, that's selling 101. They have to know exactly what you're asking them to do. You can't beat around the bush, okay? You have to make sure that it's very clear what behavior is expected out of them, okay? You also need to know that no is only half a word. What's the other half of the word? Why? Because that's when you're getting into the negotiation. Hey, I'd like for you to buy this widget and put it on your shelves tomorrow. Could I get you to do that? Well, no. That's the interesting answer. Why do you, why is that? changing behavior, customer behavior is very difficult. I used to have an old boy that I worked with, and he'd say, Jim, I didn't sell him a new horse, I just got on the horse he was riding. Think about that. Figure out what the customer was doing, and then make what your goods and services have fit what that customer's doing.